So this week, AI tried to take a seat at the table. And today we're going to talk about how to make sure it's not yours. Welcome back to Unshakable Her, helping ambitious women who are constantly second-guessing themselves to build the daily habits that compound into unshakable confidence. I'm Caroline Esterson and I'm in your corner. Today, it's Friday. We've heard the story in Monday's episode and we've understood the science of what's holding us back from Wednesday. Now we're closing the week with a song that holds everything we've covered, so you can carry the week's confidence tips with you when the podcast ends. Plus, 3 quick-fire career moves, small enough to use before Monday morning and sharp enough to make a 2mm difference to edge you towards that promotion. Because Unshakable isn't built in a moment, it's built in the moves you make between Mondays. Let's go. If you're new here, welcome, and you've landed on a good one. This week on Unshakable Her, we've been unpacking the AI question that's keeping people up at night. Monday, we met Justine, whose role got AI'd and who came out the other side stronger with a promotion. Go back and listen, it's a good one. Then Wednesday, we went into the science of exactly why her move worked, who AI is hitting hardest, and the irony bomb that should make every woman in work feel genuinely vindicated. If you've been here all week, you know what's coming. Let's land it. 3 moves, real ones, this week, and no certification required. And before we get there, clue number 1 about today's song. It's by a group who know a thing or two about being written off and who didn't stay written off for very long. Can you think of any? So by the time of today's episode, you are going to have 3 specific concrete moves you can make in the next 7 days that absolutely shift how you're seen at work. Not in theory, not someday, not mañana, right now. You're going to hear a career dilemma that I suspect is sitting in more than a few inboxes this week, and we're going to sort it out properly. And of course, today's song. I'm not telling you what it is yet, but here is your second clue. It's for everyone who's been underestimated by something that had absolutely no idea what it was dealing with. Is that you? Let's go. Right, let's start this week with a what would Caro do? What would Caro do? Sometimes you don't need permission, you just need better advice. This one is from Annie from Altrincham. Dear Caro, my company has just announced that AI is being rolled out across the entire department. My manager keeps calling it an exciting opportunity, and I keep nodding along, but honestly, I'm terrified. I just don't know if my job's safe. I want to look like I'm coping, but I genuinely don't know where to start. What would Caro do? Right, first, thank you for sending this. And I want to say something before I answer it. The nodding along while terrified? Well, you're not alone with that. This is the most common career experience of 2025 and 26. And I put my money on it being the experience of most people in your department, including quite possibly that manager that says it's an exciting opportunity. So here's what I would do. I would stop trying to feel less terrified and start getting more specific. And what I mean by that, it's really subtle because terror is almost always about the vague, the unknown, the headline. And the antidote to vagueness is precision. So I want you to sit down with one question, somewhere quiet. Ask yourself, in the last month, what did I do at work that required me to make a judgment call? Not about producing something, making a call, reading a situation, know something from experience that isn't written down anywhere. Write it down, every single example that you can think of. Because what you're doing right now is making an inventory of what you have that the tool just doesn't. And I promise you, if you are a thinking, experienced, relationship-building human being, the list is longer than you think. That is where you start. Not with retraining or a course or a new job title. with your list. The terror doesn't go away immediately, but it really does get smaller every time you add something to it. So you've got your list started. Now let's talk about what you actually do with it, because knowing your value and being known for your value are two entirely different things, and only one of them pays the mortgage. So here are your 3 moves. 3 little moves to make you unshakable, small enough to start Monday, sharp enough to change everything. Move 1. Shift your focus from being a maker to judge. This is Justine's move, and it's available to every single one of you, regardless of your role, your industry, or how AI is landing in your organization. Stop defining your value by what you produce and start defining it by what you decide. Practically this week, this means one thing. The next time AI generates something in your world, whether that's a document, a piece of copy, a data summary, don't just approve it or send it, annotate it. Write down what you changed and why. Keep a record of every time you caught something the tool got wrong, got close to, but not quite right, or produced something technically correct that was entirely wrong for the context. That record is your evidence file. It's proof in real time, building every week, that your judgment is what stands between the tool's output and something that actually works. And then, right, now this is the bit people skip. Share it. Bring it to your one-to-one, referencing your next performance review conversation. Let the people who need to know. Judgment only protects you if someone can see it. So get it out of your head and into the room. Move 2. Put a number on that invisible work. Now, this is something we talked about last week, and I want to reference it again here. This one might feel a bit uncomfortable. I'm pleased about that because it means it matters. I want you to think about the last month, not your deliverables, the other stuff, the conversation you had with a colleague before a difficult meeting that meant the meeting actually went smoothly, the client who wasn't happy and is now not because of how you handled it, the new starter you spent time with, the stakeholder you kept warm, the political read that stopped something going badly wrong. None of this stuff is on your job description, and none of it showed up in your last performance review. And all of it is the work that AI can't touch. Now, I want you to do something radical. You ready for this? I want you to count it. Not in a spreadsheet, although, if that's your thing, go for it. Just start naming it out loud in your one-to-ones, in your reviews, in how you talk about your work to the people who decide your future. Something like, I spent time with X client last week, and I want to be really clear about the value of that. Here's the outcome. You have been subsidizing your organization's relational intelligence for years, and it's time to put it on the invoice. Move 3. Rewrite your story in AI era language. Maybe that's your LinkedIn profile or your CV. It could even be the way you answer the "what do you do" question at a networking event. Right now, most of it is probably framed around what you make, what you manage, and what you deliver. And that framing made complete sense before. Now, however, makes you look a little bit replaceable. This week, do one small rewrite. Take one line of your LinkedIn summary and shift it from output language to judgment language. Change something, like I manage content strategy, and instead try something like, I'm the one who can tell in 30 seconds whether a piece of content sounds like us or not. And here's another one. Instead of I lead client relationships, why not try out the clients I work with tend to stay because you know what? When things go wrong, they know I'll sort it out. You aren't a function. You are a decision maker, a trust builder. The person in the room who knows what the tool just doesn't. Say that in those words on the platforms when people who might need you can find you. Why not ask ChatGPT or Claude to rewrite these for you? Make the tool work for you instead. 2 millimeters, 1 line this week. Okay, so back to the song. Let me give you the third and final clue for today's song. This song is for the version of you that looked at the thing that underestimated you, that thought it was taking your seat, your value, your relevance, and you didn't get angry. You didn't make a scene. You just said, thanks for the lesson, and moved on. So what's the song then? See whether you can get it. It came out in 2016 and went to number 1. And honestly, given everything we talked about this week, it has absolutely no business being this perfect for this moment. Any thoughts? You're going to think this is bizarre. It is Shout Out to My Ex by Little Mix. Love it. Because that's what move 1, 2 and 3 are all about. It's not about a fight or a defense. A shout out to the thing that thought it was replacing you, and frankly, a clean, unbothered, slightly smug exit. Grab the Unshakable Her playlist on Spotify. Link is in the show notes. And as always, play it on full volume and tap along to it with that smug smile. So, thank you for lending me your ears this week. Here's what I want to leave you with to ponder. You weren't wrong to be scared. The stats are real and the disruption is real. The pattern of who it's hitting hardest is real too, and it's not fair. And we should all be saying so out louder than we are. Yet, the work that AI cannot do is the work that you've been doing all along. Remember, the judgment, the context, the trust, the relationships, the read, the invisible glue that holds things together and never showed up once on a job description. You weren't being strategic when you developed these skills. You just did it naturally. You were just doing your job, but you built something that the most sophisticated technology in human history is struggling to replicate. And that means something. In fact, it means an awful lot. The 3 moves we've talked about aren't complicated. They don't require a course or 6 months of preparation. You can do them immediately. Shift your focus from maker to judge, from invisible to visible, old story to new story. 3 shifts over 7 days. That's all it takes. And when the thing that thought it was replacing you looks up and finds you're not just still there, but stronger, more visible, more valued than before, you don't need to say anything. Just give it a shout out and move on. So that's a wrap on the trilogy this week about the topic that is on everyone's lips, AI. And today you walk away with 3 specific moves that shift how you're seen at work. Remember, I'm going to say it again. Shift from maker to judge, put a number on your invisible work, rewrite your CV in AI era language. You also heard a familiar career dilemma about AI coming into a department and how to handle it by getting specific. You heard how vagueness can fuel fear. So you got relevant and made a list of all the times you used your skills of judgment, context, and trust in your role. Because the evidence doesn't lie. And frankly, no one can forget today's song. Shout Out to My Ex by Little Mix, because it's a slightly smug, completely unbothered goodbye to the part of your job that AI actually can have. The rest, well, the rest, it stays with you, doesn't it? So that's it from me this week. Before you go, if something this week made you nod, laugh, or think, finally someone said it, leave a rating wherever you're listening. Just a couple of taps, that's all it takes. And it helps other women just like you who are spiraling and searching for help to find this show. I'm Caroline Esterson. You came here for career advice, but what you're really building, week by week, move by move, is someone no one can shake. See you Monday.